Namaste, and welcome to yoga today. So, this is the third in our series that we've been talking about karma yoga and using mainly the teachings of Swami Shivananda from his book Karma Yoga. And he talks about this idea that the whole universe is kept together by an incredible force of attachment. He says it's as if the mind is glued with this gummy, sticky, really, sticky stuff that glues us to the objects of our interest. So this attachment is a very, very strong force, and we're all aware of it. It's not until you have, very often anyway, it's not until you have a child that you realize how incredibly attached we become to our children. I had a friend one time, and I was pregnant, and she had a little baby that was only about 2 months old. And we were walking together, and her baby was crying. And she said to this little baby, "Oh, stop, please, you're breaking your mama's heart." And that's how attachment feels. We feel so attached to this other person that what's happening to them has this incredible effect on us. So, it's said of a mother, she's only as happy as her unhappiest child. Attachment. In a way, when you stop and think about it, what example are we for our children if we cannot have joy and happiness and balance in our lives in the face of everything that's going on around us? We want to role model something that isn't going down with the ship. So, as human beings, we thirst for possessions. We want objects, we want family, we want friends, we want a job, we want a car and a house, we want a particular kinds of clothing or sound systems or who knows what. We thirst for these, and even these subtle ones bring us selfishness. We turn everything into our attachment to something that we want. So this is all about I want this. I need this. This is important to me. Or we look at something, we think, this is mine. This belongs to me. And if you're lucky enough to find that you don't always feel that way, then you've done a lot of work in the past to get you to this point. Because very much we are in a net of we're entangled in a web of our own making. Is that we have made this by forming this attachment, by sticking our gluey, sticky stuff to an object and feeling like we are the same as that. We are attached to that person, that object, that thing, and without it, we aren't going to be happy. So this is the human condition. We see it every day in life. My child, my house. I have a really good example. I have a friend who has season football tickets to Manchester City, who until recently were one of the best teams in the world. They're having a rough season. But she has 2 tickets. And she has family who she takes on rare occasions. But most of the time she takes me. So this is her ticket. But when I go, I show them my ticket. It's my ticket. And so, I show them my ticket, and she has hospitality tickets. And so people treat her really well. They treat me really well because they think this is my ticket. And in a way, that's what life's like. We think this is mine, but I know it's not mine. It belongs to my friend. And so all of the extra special care and attention that I'm getting is a result of her ticket. So that ownership of something always causes problems. So you want to be like me, knowing that, I don't mean me personally, but in this instance, knowing that actually this is not my ticket. And the advantages of getting to park in the stadium belong to her, not to me. So it's worth understanding that that's the truth of everything in our life. Nothing you have belongs to you. I mean, if you remember when you were a child, you liked your parents pretty much. You probably loved them, but you certainly didn't feel like you belonged to them, that they owned you. And you kind of couldn't wait to get to the point in life where you could go out and live your life and do what you wanted, not be an extension of your parents. So we know that we don't like when someone's attached to us and feel like they own us. But we then go on to do it to other people. So how are we going to get out of this? By disciplining the mind. The mind, in fact, Swami Shivananda says, this whole mischief in life is caused by the mind. And so really this is one of the master keys of karma yoga, is learning to discipline the mind carefully. It's not our family that makes us miserable. It's not our work that makes us miserable. It's our attachment to it and identification with it that brings the problems, the troubles, the worries, the unhappiness into our life. We do think of it as my job, not the job I do. My job, not a job. I mean, if you think about it at its extreme, one day you're president of the United States with all of the power that goes with that. And the next day, that's all gone. Happens to all of them in one way or another. They go from being the most, quoted as being the most powerful man in the world to being usually out of work. And anything they do after that doesn't live up to that expectation. It's the same when people work in a job for many years. They become identified with that job, attached to it. And many people, it certainly was that men in particular, when they stopped work, they would die because their reason for living was gone. Their identification of who they are, it was so closely identified with what they did. Stuck like this gummy, sticky glue of attachment. And so what we want to do is to learn to let that go. And yogis would say that you will not succeed in meditation. You will not succeed in experiencing samadhi, this beautiful state that comes when you meditate on something, and instead of experiencing your opinion of what you're looking at or meditating on, you actually experience the thing itself. Imagine the difference between experiencing what you think is peace and what peace actually is. It's a much more profound experience than our mind's idea of what peace is. And so Swami Shivananda said, it's almost impossible unless you have some training in karma yoga, living your life without attachment to these external objects, even if they're subtle ones, even if they're attachment to your own ideas and attitudes. If you give something to a small child, you don't expect something back from them. You might make them something to eat. You don't expect them in return to make something for you to eat. And in fact, you probably don't even expect, when they're really little, that they're going to thank you and appreciate it. You do it without attachment. You do it lovingly and willingly. And so that's how we get to work as a karma yogi, with no expectation of what's going to come back. And this is a purely mental state. It's in our mind, the way we perceive the world. And so Swami Shivananda says, this binding link, this gluey, gooey stuff that in your mind. So it's the mind that makes the link. It's like, in medicine, sometimes they do this. They look at two things that are happening in the physical body and they think A is causing B. What they don't realize is that sometimes A and B are just occurring at the same time. It is not the cause of. It's just an association of two things, not the cause. And we do that in life. We mistake these objects as being mine. We think we own them. They are ours. We are attached to them. And so this binding link is in the mind, not in reality. And the essence of this binding link is I and mine. I want this. I need that. I didn't get this. I love you. Why don't you love me? I'm minus. This is mine. These are my thoughts and my feelings. This is my understanding. This is my child. This is my loved one. This is my job, my car, whatever it is. If you can, and so he says they're like two poisonous fangs, I and mine, and that they will destroy you. They'll poison you. And so what we want to do is to extract these from the mind. So when we sit to meditate, when we look at things in our life and we try to understand what's happening, take out I and mine. Wow, what a challenge that is. If you can do that, you tame the mind. And that changes everything. If you can get to that state where you have got rid of these two poisonous fangs, nothing can bind you. You will not make that mistake again of identifying with an object, being attached to an object. You've lost all the stickiness in your gluey, sticky stuff. It's gone by not thinking, this is mine. I. So, it's very subtle. You can't just give up one thing, being attached to one thing or one person. It's only a start. It's the consciousness that has to change. You can be a wandering monk, and you can have given up your family, your wealth, your job, to become a wandering monk, and the only possessions you might have are a begging bowl and a cloth. But you can be just as attached to your begging bowl and your piece of cloth as you were to your family and your money. So it's this process, it's a letting go. You've not let go and you're done. Life is a letting go, always a letting go, so that you can be free. I mean, we're so impacted by external things when they are not real. In India, they have great festivals, they call them melas, great spiritual gatherings, and sadhus, wise men, come from all over to these people, and they're honored by people for their holiness. But most people, when they judge a sadhu, they do it by externals. And so some of the things that make you look like a good sadhu is only having one piece of cloth. Who needs two? You need nothing. And then very often they haven't to comb their hair. And so their hair is long and matted. And so people think that's a sign of your detachment from the world. See, I'm not even interested in my own body. The problem being that they can go to the market and for 2 rupees, well, not to the market, they're a little bit more subtle than that, but they can go and for 2 rupees, they can get matted hair stuck on with a hair glue to give the appearance of being a holy person. So when we're talking about I and mine, it's an illusion. It's just an appearance of something. You know, if you think of the possessions that you thought belonged to you and realize they're just a gift or a loan or in your care, then instead of being irritated, we can genuinely appreciate them. Instead of thinking your car isn't good enough, think, how blessed I am, Lord, to have this car. Thank you. Changes your whole demeanor and your whole experience of life. So how can we work more and more with this idea of detachment? And I think this is a beautiful way to look at it. Have a deeper interest in whatever action you're performing than a great artist would have for their painting. So if somebody's going as a great artist, they're looking first before they do anything else. They're looking at whatever they're going to paint. Maybe they're painting the Sistine Chapel, maybe it's just a canvas. And what are they going to put on there? And so they may start with just having ideas and drawing sketches and refining those sketches. So there's a lot of effort's gone in even before they pick up a brush. And then every brush stroke is preceded by a deep deliberation and one-pointed attention to what you're going to do next. And it goes into the minutest detail of the art that they're producing. So that artist is completely present in that moment. They're not thinking about anything else. Only that brush stroke. That's all. Completely focused. So that's the first part of it, this deeper interest and care and attention. And the next part is the detachment. So you're a great artist. You may spend a lot of time and effort doing it. And at the end of it, you may not be happy with what you've done. Or you might be really happy with it, but nobody else likes it. There's lots of opportunities for failure. So you might be upset as the painter if the outcome's not perfect and it's not appreciated. But the karma yogi, on the other hand, just has enjoyed with just this wonderful contentment and satisfaction at every stage as they have poured their heart and their care and attention into every little thing they do. And they're content with that. That's what they were looking for. That's what we're all looking for. To be. Not to do, but to just be. And out of that being comes our doing. That contentment unaffected by the result. You gave it all you had. If you could have done better, you would. This was your best. What joy comes with that? Unaffected by the result. Success is the work itself, and that's finished. Time to move on to a new action, a new opportunity to express love, care, attention, kindness, qualities of the soul. So a karma yogi wants to complete the work for its sake alone, not for the reward that comes later, or may not come later, just for the sake of it, done in a spirit of selflessness, of sacrifice, brings this unbelievable peace, ineffable peace, and a bliss, an ever new joy that defies description. That's what comes when you work with selfless service, with detachment, with care and attention. So these are the qualities and what's needed to be a karma yogi, to live in spirit, first, foremost, always, and to realize that you, this person, this individual, you are an expression of divine will and an instrument of that divine will. What a privilege, what a joy. The karma yogi feels that God is the inner ruler, that it is God expressing, spirit expressing through your mind, your heart, your thoughts, your feelings, your physical body. And as a karma yogi, remain unaffected, balanced, not attached, unaffected in the midst of worldly activities and troubles. Because you have only one job to do. The thing in front of you done with care, with attention, an act of selfless service. That's what we're supposed to be doing here as human beings. Learning more and more each day to allow spirit to express through us. Instead of being a blockage, letting I and mine, no, I'm not going to express, that's not what I want. I don't want to do that. What a thing to be able to let that go. And I thought we would just finish with a meditation together based on the beautiful words of Krishna. And this is paraphrased. This is part of a chant translated into English. Mind fixed, and this is Lord Krishna to the devotee. Mind fixed on me. Be my devotee. Bow down to me only, and I shall surely come to you. I who love you dearly. So just closing your eyes. And as a devotee, allow these beautiful words of Krishna to transform your whole being. Mind fixed on me. Be my devotee. Bow down to me only. And I shall surely come to you. I who love you dearly. And now just allowing any insights and blessings from this meditation to be integrated into the whole of your being, coming down through the buddhi, the intuition, the thoughts and feelings, the life force, your physical body, as you tense and relax your arms and legs. And just moving from side to side, making smaller and smaller arcs till you're sitting straight. Relax your head. And if you have no neck problems making full circles, If you do, just gently moving your head from side to side. First in one direction and then in the other. Jai. Namaste. Have a wonderful week.